Safety Locker Room Conversations. Welcome. First and foremost, I want to thank all my subscribers. I appreciate everybody for the support. This is a new channel. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna build this up brick by brick. Y'all just make sure y'all press that like button, press that subscribe button, and we're gonna keep building from there. So once again, I appreciate all the love and support that everybody put out there for the guard, and tuning in every chance they get, and every like count, every subscriber counts, and I appreciate y'all once again, man. But today we gonna have a long talk about it's a lot going on with Lil Wayne, Tory Lanez. But today I want to speak on something that I seen. I came across a couple channels speaking on a specific topic. It's called Black Fatigue. Black fatigue. We're gonna break that down. Black fatigue. Fatigue meaning you tired, stressed, drained, all of that nature. Basically, we have a lot of Caucasians very vocal on how they feel about blacks out in public, and not only Caucasians, we also have blacks speaking on other blacks being black fatigued, meaning for instance, the fights at the airports, the fights at the food spots like the buffets, family buffets, fights at the Chuck E. Cheese's, the bonnets, the bonnets and the pajamas and shit like that, walking through Walmarts and the Targets and the kids out of control type thing. So that's what they mean by black fatigue. And then also you also have I'm gonna be bold and honest, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking to y'all, talking to the people so we can talk. It was an old saying back in the day. They said it's two kinds of blacks. You may hear Charlemagne say it every once in a while, but he's cut from that down south country cloth. I'm a New Yorker, but I was basically raised in the South, back and forth. But it's an old saying called it's two kinds of blacks. You got blacks and then you got niggas. We're gonna break that down. The blacks, you can call it whatever you want to call it, whatever you see as success. Working man, take care of the family, blue collar kind of guy, you know what I'm saying? And then that's the black. And then you have the niggas with the saggy jeans, standing on the corner, talking about drilling. Don't really have set goals in life. I guess the YN mentality. So yeah, that's called black fatigue. They were speaking on how they basically tired of seeing basically us act out in such disgusting manners, and even going down to the blacks speaking on us brothers and sisters. They would say they get tired of seeing the bonnets, the pajamas out in public acting ratchet. The ratchetness when they would see other blacks in commercial areas, let's say at a theme park or at the Chuck E. Cheese, just acting out. You ever went out the country or went to a different state and went to a event or an area where there's not too many of us at, but if you do see a crowd come in that's kind of ratchet, you kind of look at them like damn, you can't take y'all nowhere, or damn, y'all can't be professional for for the event or for the moment, and turn it down a little bit. So that's what they mean. We had examples of we're not going to speak on the Caucasian. We're going to speak on just the black man and the black woman, just speaking on the ratchetness and them being black fatigue. It was one guy on there explaining how like in our community we look down on people that speak proper or went to college or was raised in a 2-parent household. We look at them like what's wrong with you? Or you got the cooties type thing, or why you talking like that? Why you talk white? Or why you talk so proper? as if that's a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's what they mean by like the just like tired and stressed with the mentality of how we think. You know, why is it a problem for a black man or a black woman to be educated or talk properly without using slang? Or why is it a problem for a black man to have his pants pulled up above the waist, you know, and not wear Jordans, maybe wear something outside of Jordans in a button up t-shirt? They look at him as lame. A guy with a job, they look at him as lame. So that's like the crab in a barrel mentality. So another example was it's coming from a black man. He's saying why when blacks get money, we feel the need to move away from the hood, not only the hood, but move away from the people, our own people. You know what I'm saying? And move to neighborhoods where you see less of us at. That was kind of a good example. Is that is that like a mentality, or do we know how we are amongst each other and we want to get away from it? But that goes back to a old podcast that I did speaking on how like when the black men do get money, how they kind of slowly but surely detach themselves from their community or from, you know, their old friends, or from what they know, because in some cases you can't bring those individuals into a lot of rooms or different rooms. I seen Snoop on the Breakfast Club earlier today, and he kind of basically spoke on what I was saying. He was saying how when you go into these professional establishments, you know, this is his job, this is my job. So how does it sound like, you know, me telling my friends, all right, I'm about to go to work, come along with me. You know, it's but so much work that's going to get done. And you can't control your friends once, you know, you bring them to these environments. You don't know how this guy is going to act when he's on that brown or when he's on that white. You don't know how this girl is going to act when the drinks is flowing or the certain music is playing, or, you know, certain conversations come up. People may talk out of turn, or, you know, just overstep their boundaries. So I just feel like we play it safe when it comes to just our personal lives and livelihood. You know what I'm saying? We pick and choose our surroundings once you get to a certain level, and it's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, the name of that was called Black Fatigue. You have Caucasians speaking on how they tired of just us complaining and pointing a finger at the white man and saying why we're in certain situations when, you know, it's 2025. And also us, we get tired of seeing our people marching, protesting, and pointing a finger in today's time, 2025. That's another form of black fatigue. You know, at some point we start looking at you, or, you know, depending on who you're talking to, we start looking at you like, yo, like, when are you gonna pull yourself up by your bootstraps, not point the finger, and take affirmative action to your lifestyle, how you want your lifestyle to be? At some point it becomes like complaining or nagging, or, you know, we don't want to hear it. So I do believe black fatigue is a thing, because I find myself 34 years old. You know, the older I get, the more, you know, mature you get. You may separate yourself from the 20, 25 year old crowd and start wanting to do a lot of grown and sexy things. You may want to start going to, you know, lounges, kickback lounges, you know, rather than the club. You know what I'm saying? You may want to expand your taste buds, eat at expensive or, you know, grown and sexy environments, rather than going to a crowd where you know it's going to be loud and ratchet and, you know, bogus activity going on. So yeah, I feel like that's a good conversation, and the topic is well, the name of it is called Black Fatigue. So I found that as a good conversation. Um, let's move on, man. How y'all feel about this Diddy Cassie situation, man? Gunshot, gunshot. When are we gonna hold these women accountable for the lies? I'm not speaking on Cassie right now or the Diddy situation right now. I'm just saying in general, like, it's just so much going on in the world, as far as like how us men is being carried by not only the media but by the women. And I was just on a pod with one of my comrades, Travis Peterkin, um, and we were speaking on, like, just looking at Tory Lanez, Smokey Robinson, um, uh, the O.J. Simpsons, the Bill Cosbys, just all the men that we've been seeing in the headlines lately. They've all been in the media. Hove, you know what I'm saying? They've all been in the media for the wrong reasons due to what a woman have put out there into the world, due to the narrative that they put out there into the world. And I kind of blame this on the Me Too mentality and movement, the whole feminist mentality and movement. Please don't try to cancel me, man. We sitting there having a genuine conversation, because we all see that the world has changed drastically, and we're being told what's wrong is right and what's right is wrong, and it's just a lot of common sense situations that's going on that we side eyeing it, like, what's going on, what's wrong with people mentally, you know what I'm saying, that we can't figure the most simplest things out and fix the problems. So the question is, when are we going to hold these women accountable for the lies that they put on these men, the narratives that they put out there, and then when it leaps over to the civil courts or the federal, and then allegedly sometimes it comes out to be not true. Now look, you done messed up endorsements, sponsorships, the man's livelihood, not able to get work because people don't want to associate themselves with you. It's a lot that goes on with a lie, and a lot of that is going on in today's society with these women. A lot of money grabs, and for the young bulls and the older crowds that can't identify it when it's going on, you're gonna be in that water with the sharks, because it's a lot of extortion going on these days. Now let's get back to Wayne and Cassie, man. It's I mean, right is right, wrong is wrong. I don't condone in domestic disputes with females. I don't condone in DV. But let's just have common sense here. I'm looking at the trial. I'm looking at different YouTubers and stuff like that, and news clips and stuff like that. And I'm seeing that this girl Cassie is blatantly coming out her face and saying that she consented in a lot of these freak offs. What I mean by consent is, somewhere down the line, one of the lawyers had asked her, at some point, did you comfortably approve some of these doings without Diddy's without feeling forced? And she said yes. At some point she said yes. She felt like she was doing it to please her man, which was Diddy. And she also tried to justify her doings on her age. Now let's start there. You was over the age of 18 and the age of 21 when you was doing these things. This is the problem. This is the problem right here. You can't indulge in things, consent in certain things, and then justify it by your mentality at the time. It don't work like that. Now, we're not saying that Diddy was wrong for doing what he did, and all the footage that we seen, he was totally wrong. But I feel like this case shouldn't be a federal case. It should be exactly what it is, which is a DV case between two people that was once in a relationship that involved themselves in freaky situations. But the question is, when are we going to hold the women accountable, the ones that's going out for money grabs, whether it's for the NFL players, NBA players, boxers, just anybody in the entertainment business that's getting money, and they go to court, go to trial, and just for us to find out that it was a lie. What happens after that? What the women just go into the sunlight? Like, what happens? We need to set up something to where these women is being held accountable for what they're saying and what they're putting on these men, because they're not only messing up families, they're not only breaking up homes, they're messing up people's livelihoods, people's legacies, and it's not right. I feel like men in today's timing have no voice at all. It's a woman's word against yours, and you'll have to sit in jail or sit through the narrative in whatever the media pushes until the truth actually comes out. And that's unfair. Laws need to be in place. Laws need to be in place for these kind of women, man. That's how I feel about that. I don't want to go too deep into it because it's I don't want to put out false narratives, but from what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing, this girl Cassie blatantly said out of her mouth that she consented in a lot of these freak offs, but she's justifying her doings on her age. She felt like she was too young at the time, mentally, and she was doing these things for her man. The guy didn't put a gun to her head, for one, and for two, she have to hold herself accountable for not moving herself away from the situation in a good manner of time. Nobody's forcing you. I understand that you may move in fear sometime. You may feel a little intimidated, but at some point, I feel like Smokey Robinson, for instance, the man is damn near 90 years old. Why are you coming out 40 years later speaking on whatever situation happened at hand at the time? Is it to mess up his legacy at this point? Because I mean, at this point, it's not his livelihood, because he's doing great. He's a legend, so you can't mess up his pockets. At this point, the only thing left to tarnish is his legacy. Same with guys like Bill Cosby. We've heard guys like Hugh Hefner. This type of activity has been going on for decades, since Marilyn Monroe was in Hollywood. You get what I'm saying? Just like the lawyer said, it's just at that point in time, it wasn't a name for it. It wasn't called freak offs. They was just partying. Everybody was on drugs and having a good time. But I feel like some of these people wait till they get in a certain situation in life, maybe financially or mentally not there, and they go for the money grab. So future reference, I just feel like with just everything, even leading down to Tory Lanez, lies. We don't know the truth, but allegedly, friends have came out of Megan Thee Stallion, stating that she had a lot of false theories in her story. We have video footage of certain scenarios that went down that night, but once again, it's the female's word against the man's word, and the man gonna have to sit down until everything gets figured out. And then, let's say future reference, it was all a lie. Then what? At the end of the day, the man then got stabbed 14 times. His livelihood is messed up. People won't look at him the same once he come out of jail. Um, there's just a lot that goes with a lie. A lie can do so much damage to the it can do so much damage, man. And I feel like these women don't understand what they're doing and how they're doing it. And I kind of blame it on, once again, on this whole, you know, since the world done put out all this slang with the gaslighting and the LGBTQs, coming out with certain terms as far as the feminist groups and the Me Too movements. I blame it on all those movements, because once they started giving these women a voice and started getting their emotions involved in a lot of the situations, this is what's playing out, and it's getting crazy. It's getting kind of disgusting. Um, so yeah, it's a dark cloud on black men. And I feel like, once again, these women need to be held accountable once the allegations come out that it was false. Moving on, man. Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne, man. I'm gonna keep this one short and brief, man. Once again, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, comment, tell me how y'all feel about all this that's going on, and we're gonna build, man. We're gonna talk. But Lil Wayne, man, let's talk about it. Lil Wayne puts out Fiance and her child and her daughter on Mother's Day. Let's talk about it. That's all I'm hearing for right now. I did see the fiance come out and say that she's about to get lawyers involved. Same old song, same old story. Now all of a sudden he's putting hands on her. He's flying women in. You know what that sounds like? The X trafficking. She's about to create a narrative, all because, it sounds like a woman scorned. She got kicked out of the house. Now it's a money grab. So it's like, it all comes down to, when it comes down to these women, it be emotions and lies that put men in bad situations, whether it's dead sometimes, locked up in jail, homeless, you know what I'm saying? All type of things. Being that it's not too much coverage on the story, I feel like people need to dig more deeper into these situations when it comes to man, woman, and child, or just man and woman in general, because the way the world narrate the story and the way the media push the story, it's always the man's fault. When the police come onto the scene, the man can have 1,000 scratches on his face, eyes damn near busting out his face. Guess who's gonna have to take that walk or leave the household? Guess who's gonna end up having to get handcuffed and go to jail within that situation, whether you're right or wrong? It's always their word against yours. And until they figure out the truth, you're going to get held in custody or you're going to get the ass into the stick. That's just how it goes. So that's why I say it got to be some type of law set in place for these type of individuals with the lies and letting the narrative carry on to where it messes up the man's livelihood and just his well-being. It's disgusting. Nobody wants to say that she's the problem or the woman was the problem or could possibly be the problem. It's always the man's fault. So with Lil Wayne putting his fiance out on Mother's Day, I want y'all thoughts on that. How y'all think that turned out? Who do you think was the culprit? Who do you think was the cause of that situation? Do you feel like Wayne, instead of putting hands and feet on this on her, or instead of getting cops involved and going the extra route, he just backed away and say, you know what, just pack your stuff and leave peacefully? But can we ever leave peacefully? Can the man ever peacefully bow out of a situation without it being allegations of him putting hands on a woman or just whatever the situation is? So we're gonna pray for Wayne and that whole situation, because once that narrative get out there, a lot of money gonna get spent on lawyers, man. So this the times we living in, man. Just pray for better days. Once again, hit the comments, man. Tell me how y'all feel about all this. The Tory Lanez, the Lil Wayne, putting his fiance out on Mother's Day situation. The P Diddy and Cassie. Let's not always point the finger on the man, because a lot of the time, sometimes we're not the problem. So much of the focus gets taken off of the other side to where you get blinded by the lie. And in today's timing, nobody cares about the truth because the lie is more entertaining. Peace to the gods. That's Lefty's State of Mind podcast, Lefty's Locker Room Conversations. Once again, I appreciate the love and the support. Y'all go ahead and hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Let's keep growing as a channel and growing as a people. One love. Salute.